What's up, fans? Sydney Colson here. Super excited to be in Indy. Cannot wait to see y'all in Cambridge. See you soon.
For what felt like an eternity, a gloomy narrative clung to the Indiana fever, whispered by critics and amplified across the sports media landscape. Cheryl Swoops, a voice with considerable weight in the basketball world, had boldly declared what many seemed to believe. No self-respecting veteran, no player with championship aspirations would willingly choose to join the Indiana fever. The implication was clear, almost brutal.
I'm super excited about it. I'm going from a team that was in the media, like people are excited to watch us, into another team that is arguably the most talked about team in sports right now, especially in women's sports. So this fan base, it's exciting to be a part of a team that has a lot of positive energy around it.
The Fever, despite the incandescent arrival of rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, were a basketball wasteland, a place where careers went to stagnate, not soar. The story was painted in stark colors, a franchise struggling for relevance, a tidal wave of rookie hype threatening to overwhelm, and seasoned players supposedly running for the hills. But then the narrative took an abrupt, electrifying turn.
The welcome heartfelt.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Lexi, what's up, baby? Oh, it's good to see you.
Me too. How are you?
Good. How are you?
What's up, baby?
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
What up, Ace? Let you in here.
Man, how are you? Good to see you.
What up, Sid?
How you doing?
Meet you.
I heard bad things about you from AJ.
Horrible. You know.
Oh, Jesus, right there. Oh, geez.
How you doing?
How you doing? I'm Sydney.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Already met. Okay, we're all caught up.
Sydney Colson arrived, and she didn't just sign a contract, she detonated the prevailing doubts with the force of a championship explosion. From the moment she proudly donned that Fever jersey of vibrant crimson against her skin, it was evident. This wasn't just another player joining a team. This was a seismic shift, a veteran presence radiating championship energy, utterly and unequivocally shattering that tired, defeatist narrative before she even laced up her sneakers in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This wasn't just a signing, it was a defiant, resounding statement that echoed across the WNBA, a promise of change and the dawn of a new era in Indiana.
The jersey! Aww! Dope. Yes. It's so weird to see yourself in new colors. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's this?
Definitely they sent you a fever. And then in case you had one.
For what felt like an eternity, a gloomy narrative clung to the Indiana fever, whispered by critics and amplified across the sports media landscape. Cheryl Swoops, a voice with considerable weight in the basketball world, had boldly declared what many seemed to believe. No self-respecting veteran, no player with championship aspirations would willingly choose to join the Indiana fever. The implication was clear, almost brutal. The Fever, despite the incandescent arrival of rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, were a basketball wasteland, a place where careers went to stagnate, not soar. The story was painted in stark colors, a franchise struggling for relevance, a tidal wave of rookie hype threatening to overwhelm, and seasoned players supposedly running for the hills.
She was somebody we targeted really early to come in and play that backup point guard role. We have ultimate faith and trust in her in any situation that we put her in. She's going to be able to lead our team. And obviously, you know, great personality as well, brings a lot of fun and levity to the locker room. Again, that experience, knows when we need which side, right? Like the serious, the tough veteran leadership versus the, you know, fun, playful Sid. So I think she's going to bring a lot of joy to all of our lives this season.
But then the narrative took an abrupt, electrifying turn. Sydney Colson arrived, and she didn't just sign a contract, she detonated the prevailing doubts with the force of a championship explosion. From the moment she proudly donned that Fever jersey of vibrant crimson against her skin, it was evident. This wasn't just another player joining a team. This was a seismic shift, a veteran presence radiating championship energy, utterly and unequivocally shattering that tired, defeatist narrative before she even laced up her sneakers in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This wasn't just a signing, it was a defiant, resounding statement that echoed across the WNBA, a promise of change and the dawn of a new era in Indiana.
think when we set out in free agency, it was to bring in veteran leadership, and we've done that. Players who have had deep playoff runs, we've done that. You look at a player like Sydney Colson, coming off what she's been able to do in Vegas, dating back to her, championship in Texas A&M. She's a winner, knows how to win, knows how to play a role. So she was somebody we targeted really early, but just looking down the line in free agency, just really excited. When the plan comes together, you feel really good about it. Again, it looks great on paper. We got to get everybody on the court, but overall, really excited about the roster.
Remember the chorus of negativity? The predictions of isolation of a veteran player entering a locker room fraught with tension and overshadowed by rookie celebrity? Erase them from your memory, because what unfolded as Sydney Colson stepped into the Indiana Fever facility was the antithesis of everything the doubters had proclaimed. Forget polite greetings. This was an outpouring of pure, unadulterated joy. A viral video, instantly iconic, captured the scene. Players and staff, a wave of crimson and genuine smiles, rushing not just to welcome, but to embrace Colson.
A lot of things. It was Amber and Kelly, Stephanie, Kelsey I played with at Athletes Unlimited for several years. Love Caitlin's game, love Aaliyah's game. It made sense. I made this decision mentally before DB and Natasha were even a part of the mix. And so all the new additions, Breezy, Sophie, it's going to be a fun season. And
you could see it in their faces, hear it in their voices, and authentic excitement that transcended mere formality. The joy wasn't manufactured for the cameras. It was palpable, radiating from every hug, every high five, every excited exclamation. The welcome wasn't lukewarm or hesitant. It was heartfelt, a full-throated cheer of acceptance and anticipation. This wasn't a team reluctantly accepting a mandated addition. It was a vibrant, dynamic sisterhood eagerly, almost desperately forming, ready to lock arms and rise together, propelled by a shared purpose. The laughter echoing through the halls, the wide, unrestrained smiles illuminating faces, the sheer, unscripted authenticity of the embrace. It spoke volumes, a powerful visual rebuttal that drowned out the critics' whispers of division and isolation with a symphony of unity and elation.
What was it like to watch what Caitlin did for this franchise from afar? Different perspective.
yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
You've been studying.
Huh?
You've been studying those studies.
Yeah, man, I try to pay attention, but no, it's been cool to see. Caitlin's a remarkable player. She's going to be good here for a long time. So I know people are excited about, her future here.
And then came that moment, the jersey reveal. If anyone still harbored lingering doubts about Colson's genuine enthusiasm, her reaction was a definitive, luminous answer. Seeing her name emblazoned on that Indiana Fever jersey, the crimson fabric catching the light, it was more than just a routine wardrobe adjustment for a seasoned pro. It was, quite literally, a spark. Her entire countenance transformed, her face radiating a pure, unadulterated joy that was infectious to witness. Pride visibly bloomed in her eyes, gleaming with anticipation, a wide, unrestrained smile stretching across her face as she embraced those Fever colors, cradling the jersey as if it were a precious jewel, something she had longed for. It wasn't just another team in a long career, it was a revival, a rekindling of competitive fire, a deeply personal new mission.
We've got a lot of players from a lot of places coming together in sort of a new look to a roster like this. What's the secret to making this all gel, ultimately, when it comes time to put it together?
Well, I think that everybody asked the questions that they needed to ask in free agency, and they trusted what they heard. And so now it's just about everybody showing up and doing the role that people expect you to do. If I'm known for my defense and playmaking, I have to come in and do that. People are expecting certain things out of you. The coaches are expecting certain things, your teammates are. So it's just being a professional, showing up and doing your job so that everything can gel together and come with a good attitude so we can make it work.
And Amber Cox, the Fever's astute general manager, perfectly articulated the deeper significance of this signing. Colson's energy, leadership, and spirit, Cox emphasized, weren't simply welcome additions, they were the precise ingredients the Fever desperately needed, the missing pieces to their evolving puzzle. Targeted meticulously and early in free agency, Colson wasn't just brought in to fill a backup point guard slot. She was strategically acquired for her ability to inject fun and levity into the locker room and, crucially, to provide the invaluable veteran leadership that can guide a young, burgeoning team through the inevitable storms of a demanding season. Colson wasn't just a player to Cox and the Fever organization. She was a culture catalyst, a transformative presence designed to elevate the team far beyond her on-court statistics.
Caitlin Clark actually spoke on this on Sunday, and she had this to say, quote, "I'm excited. Obviously, we made some great moves. I think Kelly and Amber and the whole Fever organization are helping us to win now, and I think that's really important. I think they're putting really good pieces together that are going to complement each other really, really well." And then she continued talking about Steph, their new head coach, and said that Steph taking over as head coach for us, I think is going to be really great. A great basketball mind, someone that actually called quite a few of my college games. So being able to build that relationship with her and just be in the gym and work on things that she probably saw when I was a freshman in college.
Colson's arrival wasn't merely noted in sports circles. It became a trending phenomenon, a digital wildfire of positivity. Her welcome video didn't just garner views, it exploded across social media platforms, racking up likes, shares, and comments at an astonishing rate, becoming a viral sensation that transcended the typical sports news cycle. This wasn't just fleeting online buzz, it captured something profoundly authentic, something resonating deeply with fans starved for genuine excitement. It was the raw, unfiltered emotion of a veteran player, a two-time WNBA champion, radiating pure, unadulterated thrill at becoming part of this specific team, this Indiana Fever, and fans, instinctively perceptive, felt that energy. Their overwhelmingly positive response wasn't just supportive, it was a resounding collective voice that exposed with stark clarity how utterly and hopelessly disconnected the chorus of haters and doubters truly were from the vibrant reality unfolding in Indiana.
Stephanie just talked to me about how she saw me fitting in as a piece on court for the team, and that was really important to me. Like you said, I've been in the league. This is my 14th season out of college, and I've never been considered a lot in free agency, and so for her to see my value, it meant a lot. How she was, working me in to be a part of the team, and I said I want to play on court more in my last couple seasons in the league if I have that. So this was just the right fit, if I'm right.
GM Cox, further reinforcing the strategic brilliance of the signing, underscored Colson's impeccable winning pedigree. Not just 2 glittering WNBA championship rings, but a college title to boot. Emphasizing that Colson had been a primary target from the very outset of free agency discussions. Sydney Colson wasn't just a name on a contract, she was a proven winner, a champion through and through, and the Indiana Fever, with shrewd foresight, recognized the transformative power of that winning DNA. This signing wasn't about patching holes in a roster, it was about strategically injecting championship pedigree into the very bloodstream of the franchise.
You mean to tell me that 2-time WNBA champion, the face of the God Dog League, okay? The Aces' main girl, right-hand man, Sydney Colson, is no longer returning to the Aces in his signing with the Indiana Fever? First of all, do the Fever even have any more roster spots open? How many folks are you guys going to sign?
But the masterstroke, the detail that truly elevates this narrative from compelling to utterly captivating, lies in the timeline. Sydney Colson made her momentous decision to join the Indiana Fever before the seismic signings of established superstars like Natasha Howard and Dana Bonner even materialized. Let the weight of that fact truly sink in. This wasn't a bandwagon jumper, a player opportunistically hopping aboard a suddenly surging contender. This was an intentional, deeply considered choice, made in the quiet of free agency negotiations, predicated on a vision and a belief in the Fever's potential long before the roster solidified into its current formidable form. She didn't wait to see who else would commit, didn't hedge her bets until the landscape became clearer. Sydney Colson, with remarkable foresight and conviction, wanted in from the very beginning, drawn by something deeper than just projected wins and losses.
What do you see your role being with this team then, given the roster that you're coming into?
I think similar to other places where I've been, I'm bringing veteran leadership, knowledge, energy, like swinging the defensive momentum, and just being that person that's dependable and I'm going to always come in and do my job, and I'm going to be happy in my role, and I'll thrive, whether it's 8 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, if it's 2 minutes. I'm going to play hard and get everybody involved, and I want to win ultimately.
This single, irrefutable fact obliterates the tired, frankly lazy narrative that veterans were somehow dodging Indiana, recoiling from the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Colson's palpable energy, her infectious eagerness, her unwavering commitment, they collectively rewrite the entire storyline the critics had so diligently tried to construct. This wasn't a reluctant veteran settling for a less-than-ideal situation. It was a bold, strategic maneuver by a player fiercely hungry for a new challenge, a fresh opportunity to lead, and a team brimming with untapped, explosive potential. Sydney Colson didn't just join the Fever. She chose the Fever, and that choice speaks volumes.
I hear and see the things that people say, but I know the true Indiana Fever fans, the ones that love basketball, that they love the WNBA. I'm excited to be playing in front of them and just with this team.
Then came the inevitable press conference, the crucible where narratives are either solidified or spectacularly detonated. The Indiana Fever press room crackled with an almost palpable tension. Journalists, a seasoned pack of inquisitors, crammed shoulder to shoulder, their pens poised, their recorders whirring, their cameras' lenses locked laser-like on Sydney Colson. The air hung thick with unspoken questions, swirling doubts, and the persistent, pervasive narrative. Did established veteran players harbor resentment, perhaps even jealousy, towards the overwhelming, almost suffocating spotlight that relentlessly followed Caitlin Clark? The stakes felt undeniably, almost uncomfortably high, and then the moment arrived.
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, I mean, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi.
The long-anticipated question, the elephant in the room, finally addressed: Caitlin Clark's impact. Silence descended upon the room, a hush so profound you could almost hear the collective intake of breath. Sydney Colson, unflinching, unhesitating, met the question head-on, responding with a raw honesty and genuine awe that was utterly disarming. Her 3 simple words? It was nuts. In that single declarative phrase, delivered with a sincerity that resonated through the room and beyond, every carefully constructed doubt, every whispered insinuation of resentment, every critic's meticulously crafted narrative about Clark's supposed divisive influence, simply, utterly, and irrevocably shattered. It was nuts. A truth bomb dropped in the heart of the basketball world.
What do you anticipate it being like to be part of all these sellouts and being the biggest show on wherever you go now?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be remarkable. And what I always thought about when I was on a team that wasn't getting that kind of visibility, whenever you go play the teams that are, that's when you bring your best game. Because now it's all eyes on your team too. And people, you know, hopefully will be tuning into our games and seeing players from other teams that they like, that are exciting, because there are a lot of good players around this league. So I think what we're going to be able to do, what the Aces, the New Yorks, what we're able to do is elevate the game and get people to respect our entire league, you know, not just a few teams.
The atmosphere in the press room palpably shifted, transforming from tense anticipation to something akin to stunned admiration. This wasn't a grudging, perfunctory nod to the surrounding hype. Sydney Colson radiated an almost incandescent excitement. Her posture, previously composed, now vibrated with palpable energy. Her tone resonating with unwavering conviction, her gestures confident and expansive. There was not a flicker, not a trace of bitterness, of resentment, of anything other than deep, genuine respect for Caitlin Clark's undeniable, seismic impact on the sport. She didn't just acknowledge Clark's influence, she celebrated it, highlighting with genuine enthusiasm how Clark's presence transcended geographical boundaries, drawing fans from far beyond Indiana's borders, igniting a global basketball fervor. This wasn't a seasoned veteran merely tolerating the rookie hype. It was a 2-time WNBA champion, a player who understood the rarefied air of greatness, recognizing that very quality in Caitlin Clark and proudly, eagerly stepping into the moment, ready to stand shoulder to shoulder alongside it.
The work ethic, how to persevere, not getting too high or too low, and just playing as a team, and it can make all the difference to win. And we got a very hungry team here. I've said several times, a lot of people didn't want to see Indiana after their their All-Star break, how they came and finished the season. Nobody wanted to see them in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see that group back, but also adding in a lot of veteran experience and a lot of winning veteran experience.
She didn't just accept the spotlight, she embraced it, understanding its power to elevate not just the Fever, but the entire WNBA. And when she articulated her role on the team, it wasn't about individual glory or statistical dominance, it was about veteran leadership, a laser focus on defensive momentum, and an unwavering commitment to being dependable in any role, for any duration. She boldly, unequivocally declared the Indiana Fever the team everyone's talking about, not shrinking from the amplified attention, but embracing it as a badge of honor, a testament to the exciting basketball being built in Indiana. And when she spoke of Caitlin Clark's future, it wasn't with guarded optimism or faint praise, it was with pure, unadulterated veteran respect. Caitlin's a remarkable talent. She's going to be good here for a long time. Sydney Colson wasn't just joining a basketball team, she was joining a cultural phenomenon, and she was ready to lead, to mentor, and to win right alongside Caitlin Clark in the heart of it all.
This season, the Fever is going to run amok this year. You got DeWanna Bonner. Oh, my God. They took Sid. And some of y'all really don't feel like Sid was that valuable. Sid, so valuable. To not see Asia, Sid, Chelsea Gray, KP, and Jackie Young together.
When the Indiana Fever officially announced the signing of Sydney Colson, some casual observers might have dismissed it as a routine roster move, a standard free agency acquisition. But those in the know, the basketball insiders who understand the intricate nuances of team building, recognized it instantly for what it truly was: a calculated, strategic masterstroke, a culture-shifting piece meticulously placed within a larger title puzzle that had been painstakingly constructed throughout the entire offseason. Rewind to the Indiana Fever of seasons past. They possessed undeniable talent, rising stars like Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell illuminating the court with flashes of brilliance. But defensive vulnerabilities consistently plagued them, and a palpable lack of seasoned veteran leadership often left them adrift in crucial moments. Critics, ever ready to pronounce judgment, confidently asserted that no self-respecting veteran, no player with championship pedigree, would willingly choose to join a team so heavily centered around a rookie spotlight, a team still perceived as teetering on the edge of contention.
Two-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson is officially signing a one-year deal with the Indiana Fever. So, the Fever just keep on doing what they've been doing. They're not playing no games in Indiana.
First of all, this WNBA free agency will not let us rest. Number one. We literally cannot rest. But also, I love this move again. Like, Sydney Colson is a great player, but she's also a player that is going to add even more to what we're going to talk about later, and that's that chemistry of the team.
But Amber Cox and the Fever front office, demonstrating remarkable foresight and strategic acumen, resolutely ignored the deafening external noise, choosing instead to build methodically, strategically, not reactively. They weren't just assembling a collection of talented individuals, they were crafting a cohesive roster engineered to not just survive the rigors of a WNBA season, but to thrive under pressure. And Sydney Colson was and is a linchpin in that meticulously crafted plan. She's far from your average bench player, a mere roster filler. Sydney Colson is a defensive force, a tenacious on-ball defender who can disrupt opposing offenses and ignite fast breaks. She's a silky smooth shooter, capable of knocking down clutch shots when the pressure intensifies. And she's a court maestro, a seasoned playmaker with an exceptional basketball IQ, adept at orchestrating offenses and making the right reads in critical situations. Her skill set isn't just complementary to Caitlin Clark's dynamic, high-scoring presence, it's perfectly complementary, providing the crucial balance of veteran savvy, defensive grit, and championship experience that every contender desperately craves. The Fever needed grit, they needed basketball IQ, and they desperately needed a game-changing defensive spark. Sydney Colson is that spark, and she is the strategically vital puzzle piece that completes the Indiana Fever's championship vision.
What is painfully clear, and what I've talked about in my other videos, is that the league, the Fever organization are doing everything they should do to make sure their star is happy and that their star gets a ring. I didn't know they were going to load up like this, though. Dewana Bonner, Sydney Colson, just re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. You already have Aaliyah Boston. You have Caitlin. You have Lexi.
But the narrative arc of Sydney Colson's arrival in Indiana takes an even more compelling, almost poetic turn. Her journey, remarkably, comes full circle, weaving together threads of past glory and present ambition. Rewind to 2011, when a young, determined Sydney Colson, then a collegiate star, hoisted the NCAA National Championship trophy high above her head, bathed in the roaring cheers of the crowd. The venue? Indianapolis. The city? Indy. Now, years later, seasoned by professional battles and adorned with championship rings, she returns to the very city where her championship story first began, not for a nostalgic reunion tour, but to chase glory once again, to etch another chapter into her already illustrious career in the very heart of the basketball-obsessed Hoosier state. It's a narrative of serendipity, of destiny almost, a powerful echo of past triumph resonating into a future brimming with promise. And Colson, wasting absolutely no time, dove headfirst into the Indiana Fever's burgeoning hoops culture courtside at a Pacers-Timberwolves game, not just passively observing, but actively engaging with fans, soaking in the electric energy of a packed arena, instantly seamlessly blending into the very heartbeat of basketball that defines the Hoosier state. Indiana, around the foundational pillars of Clark and Boston, has constructed something truly extraordinary, and by strategically adding the proven championship pedigree of Howard, the scoring versatility of Bonner, the tenacious grit of Cunningham, and, crucially, the veteran leadership and defensive prowess of Sydney Colson, they have irrevocably transformed the Fever from a team of potential into a balanced, battle-ready, legitimately championship-caliber contender, boasting genuine depth and a palpable hunger for victory.
We knew that Caitlin Clark was this phenomenal talent, but she was entering a league that she was not familiar with. She was a rookie. The Indiana Fever have been actively building and rebuilding their organization and this team, and they have a lot of incredible pieces. But the fact that they were able to get into the playoffs and be a team that, although they didn't, advance far in the playoffs, they were a team that we kept saying, if you face them, they're gonna make it difficult for you. That organization then saw that and said, we're capitalizing on this and we're doing it now.
Analysts, meticulously dissecting the Fever's offseason moves and roster overhaul, are now not just predicting incremental improvement, they are forecasting a major seismic leap for the Indiana Fever, potentially as early as the 2025 season. This isn't mere preseason hype manufactured for clicks and headlines. It's a grounded, data-driven assessment rooted in the tangible influx of winning experience and championship DNA that has been strategically infused into the roster. With Sydney Colson's unwavering championship mindset and veteran leadership seamlessly merging with a young, ferociously hungry core of rising stars, Indiana has undergone a breathtakingly rapid evolution, transforming from hopeful underdogs into legitimate bona fide contenders. Sydney Colson didn't just join a team, she ignited a fire, reignited a championship hunger that had laid dormant for too long in Indiana. She is living proof that veterans aren't shying away from Caitlin Clark's spotlight. They are actively, eagerly chasing greatness right alongside her, drawn by the magnetic pull of potential and the irresistible allure of a championship quest. The Indiana Fever, once whispered about in tones of doubt and derision, are now poised to roar. The league from coast to coast better pay very close attention. In Indiana, business is no longer just brewing. Business is officially, emphatically here.